Oh, hello there. Yes, I go to bed on Friday night and I get up on Saturday morning. Yes, managed to miss the Locarno last night. Today I'd like to sort of do a little bit of a kind of, philosophical point perhaps about the royal family and the office of the Prime Minister. I was watching a few videos and I'm sort of making those links in my head again. Not triangles this time. Let's watch Patrick Christie's, a man who unfortunately doesn't know the difference between an army corps and a corps, but I think someone needs to have a whisper in his ear. But talking about Prince Andrew.
Must be concerned about the impact all of this is having on the reputation of the royal family. As she enters her dotage, she must be concerned as well about what she's leaving behind, the future of the British monarchy. As we prepare for a Platinum Jubilee on February the 6th, I think it's important that we do our bit to show her that this country and its people still want and need a royal family, and that in times of crisis, it is our enduring love for her that will ensure that it survives.
Yeah, so there you have it. Andrew's really horrible, and so's Harry and Meghan. But the Queen's lovely, and we must support the whole of the institution of the monarchy. We have to, despite some bad individuals. Hold that thought, we'll go forwards. Now, let's watch everyone's favourite right-wing weather vane, Andre Walker, talking about Boris Johnson.
Well, it's a really difficult question. So whether he'll cling on is a different question to whether he should cling on. And where I'm at, and I imagine so many people watching this are at, is this. Boris Johnson attended these parties and did all these things because he's a giant hypocrite. He never believed in the lockdown. He never believed in mandatory vaccinations. He didn't believe in massive furlough schemes. He didn't believe in any of it, right? And he shouldn't, as the Prime Minister, he shouldn't have made laws that he then didn't believe in and was a hypocrite over. But then you ask yourself, what is worse, having a giant hypocrite in number 10 or having someone who's a genuine believer? You know, you look at Van Tam, obsessed with lockdowns. He's now left as a result of Boris Johnson's behaviour. Similarly, Keir Starmer would have locked down permanently. You mentioned Jeremy Corbyn, had he won in 2019. Perpetual lockdown. We assume that Dominic Cummings is having a go at Boris Johnson as a result of Michael Gove's influence. Once again, Michael Gove obsessed with perpetual lockdowns. So Boris Johnson has behaved abominably, but the question is, should we not forgive him on the grounds that at least he's a hypocrite rather than a real believer? And a real believer could really destroy this country.
Well, yes, Boris Johnson has behaved abominably. But we have to keep him in place. The bus has to keep going because he represents all the things that we want, so we have to stay with him, no matter what. Let's hear some slightly different voices and then we'll conclude.
First of all, this clearly is coordinated and it is part of a campaign which has come in waves every 2 or 3 months of attacks, blitzes, some of which stick. It was wallpaper at some stage and so on. Some stick, some don't. And it's coordinated by somebody who is trying to bring the Prime Minister down, or some group of people. And we don't know who they are. If they succeed, of course, I bet they'll be falling over themselves to come out in public and claim the credit for it, but we don't know who they are now.
Ah, yes, a sinister cabal of shadowy Dominic Cummings, no doubt. Yes, people are plotting against our glorious leader. How bad. Let's hear from Nana.
But who are the civil servants organising these gatherings? This is a rot from within. Rather than blaming Boris, how about we find out who is actually behind them? Boris took a gamble with the vaccines and PPE, protected jobs and the economy. I'm not defending him, but I'm afraid I don't believe any of the others would have done a better job. And if you'd left things to Keir Starmer and his clan, we'd still be in lockdown. And what about Brexit? I think this tweet from Lord Adonis sums it up. If Boris goes, Brexit goes.
Oh, yes. those shadowy civil servants that work in number 10 appointed by Boris. Yes, anyway, yes, and the little barb in the tail there, of course. Yeah, if you get rid of Boris, that's it for Brexit. Yeah, there's an agenda here, there's an agenda, and we must protect him at all costs. Doesn't matter how bad he is, we have to protect him at all costs. So what's really going on here? Well, I think realistically what this shows is what a sham democracy we have. A bit like the royals, right? You have to take the good and the bad. The Queen's been a good one. We don't know yet about Charles, but bearing in mind the other members of the family, you have to take what you're given. And if you get a bad one, it's bleeding tough, okay? It's tough. You can just live with it. And that's the vibe I'm getting now about Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. Yes, he's really appalling and incompetent and a liar. But at the same time, you get what you're given. It's a court. There's a handful of people that are deciding your fate, and you have no influence on this situation whatsoever. It's an utter sham that so much power is invested in so few individuals in our society. That's all we're doing. We're just staring at the court. It's just court politics and tittle-tattle, basically. The idea that we can't get rid of an incompetent, lying buffoon like Boris Johnson in a democracy is an utter scandal. An utter scandal. And when Charles comes to the throne, it'll be very, very interesting to see exactly how loved the institution of the royals is. Because I don't honestly believe that Andrew is particularly loved. Anyway, have a lovely weekend. I know I'm going to. I'm actually not at work. It's great. Hurrah for the non-working class.